Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I was just downstairs in our dining room with my wife, and she was standing next to the fireplace, and she's like, "Only 2 more months of this, right?" I was like, "What are you talking about? It's so cold. This is my favorite time of year. What are you talking about?" So funny. Oh, I married the best woman, but she gets cold. She gets cold. Guys, thanks for being here. If you like true crime, you like to cut through all the fluff sensationalism, you have found the right place. I'm glad you did, though tonight might not be a good example of finding the right place because we are talking about something. I mean, is it true crime? Is it? Well, it sort of is. It is some civil lawyering, some suing, some lawsuiting between, well, a lot of people, but the main players are Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Now, these two little, happy little folks were in a movie together last year. I think it was called It Ends With Us or something like that. Anyway, didn't see the movie. Kind of wish I had at this point. But I do like good lawyering, and so I wanted to talk about this case. I want to talk about it. Now, here is the thing about this case, okay? Um, I caught myself today because I'm like, who cares? We are talking. Oh, dang it! Boom. Can you guys hear me now? Thank you very much for the text. I'm glad that I made the mistake of not turning off. Yes, thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. Okay, hopefully that's better. Let's turn it up. Hopefully that's better. All right. Okay, so this very day, I was going, we are talking about a group of people that is about the most beautiful, among the richest among us, and they are spatting with one another. And why should we all care about this? But then I remembered a conversation that I had just this very day with a director of some renown, like a big name. And we were talking about the Ellen Greenberg case, and I was complaining about how it seems like not enough people care about Ellen. And you guys know Ellen. Let's bring Ellen up. This is like a case that is super important to me. And she was asking me, why do you think that less people care about Ellen? Well, she's not as much of a victim, right? I mean, she definitely is, but like Madeline Soto, Little Miss Maddie, like she was just, she had been victimized for so long. I think that's the reason that we are drawn to her case. Ellen's case is a little harder because she was a well-to-do doctor's daughter, college graduate, postgraduate degree. Things were going good, and I think a lot of people just don't identify as much with her. And I think that might have been my sin today when I was thinking about this case between Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, Stephanie Jones, the New York Times, and all of the other very beautiful, very powerful people that are involved in this case. So I've had to repent. Now, what are you guys saying over here? Yeah, Zach is saying it's more compelling and we empathize with them more when they're children. Yeah, in the case of Madeline, for example. And thank you very. It sounded like I was in a fishbowl. Well, the irony is thick on that one. Thank you very much for telling me that one, guys. I was down there talking to my wife until like 10 seconds until it was time to start. Hey, who do we have here? Dom's mom. 3 months as a fanatic. Thank you very much for being here. And Hand of Ike says, I care about Ellen. She's the reason I found your channel. A lot of us care about Ellen. I'm just saying, you know, when you look at like how many views does a video on the Ellen Greenberg case, maybe the most important case to me, it's Ellen and Amanda and David Elmquist that are the most important to me. It's discouraging when I get really low, you know, views on the case because I want more people to see it. But anyway, yeah, and thank you for Zach for being. Thanks everybody for being understanding. I mess up all the time, and usually it's Jamie that is like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" All right, to talk to me in the live chat, just put GF in the live chat, and I will see that. All right, so join me, will you, over here on Acrobat, and let's just talk about what's going on here. Again, this is a Hollywood battle. This is two people, and well, it's more than two people, but it's people who aren't getting along, and they live in Hollywood land, and it's just kind of strange. So this short article from Vogue from about a week ago tells us all about it. Okay, 4 months after the release of It Ends With Us, Blake Lively sued Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director, for sexual harassment, asserting that he also led a coordinated effort to destroy her professional reputation during the film's rollout. In a legal complaint filed in late December, and we're going to get into this a little bit here, guys, Lively noted that Baldoni enlisted the services of Melissa Nathan, a crisis PR specialist whose previous clients include one Johnny Depp, to help him do it. It's been a matter of public record for a while now that Depp manipulated the truth and weaponized the public's distaste for complicated, independent women in order to win his 2022 defamation trial against ex-wife Amber Heard, painting her as abusive and unstable. That's pretty biased reporting right there. Okay. All right. But let's continue. I don't have a comment either way on that, but as a reporter, I would never write that sentence. The media war that Baldoni waged against Lively was similar. Oops, just pushed a button, bring it back up. Using various publicity and social media strategies to warp the narrative around the film in his favor. Yet, Lively's complaint details the toxic work environment that Baldoni and producer Jeremy Heath created while shooting. In early 2024, upon returning to the set of It Ends With Us following the guild strikes of the year before, Lively called a meeting with Baldoni and several of the film's producers, asking, according to her complaint, her documents, that Baldoni and Heath stop, quote, showing nude videos or images of women, including producer's wife, to BL and to Blake Lively and or her employees, among other inappropriate behaviors, such as improvising kissing scenes. She also requested the presence of an intimacy coordinator on set, which should have been there anyway. There should always be an intimacy coordinator on these things. Elsewhere, especially, I mean, it should always be there, but I mean, that should be part of the budget. I mean, yeah. Community theater plays that feature intimacy should have intimacy coordinators. This is just something that should always happen. Elsewhere, the documents allege that throughout filming, Mr. Baldoni, this is a quote, and Mr. Heath invaded Ms. Lively's privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. Baldoni apparently engaged Nathan's help after he realized that Reynolds had blocked him on Instagram, hoping to get ahead of Lively's on-set complaints becoming public. I don't know who they're referring to. Hold on. Where is Nathan? Is it Nathan? Okay, I'm getting lost. Doesn't matter. Baldoni's legal team has called the suit shameful and full of category false accusations, but at this point, I think we all owe Blake Lively an apology. Again, this is not good reporting.
As Nathan put it in one text message subpoenaed by Lively's attorneys, it's actually sad because it just shows you how people really want to hate on women. Below is a full timeline of the various accusations leveled between Lively and Baldoni, and see where Ryan Reynolds, Nathan's PR firm, and more fit into this mess. That's what, when it said Reynolds, I wondered if that was Ryan Reynolds. This just isn't written all that well, and I would expect a little bit better on Vogue, but that's okay. That's okay. That's just my opinion. And by the way, it's not that I, getting back to the whole PR thing, I don't know if I ought to even say this aloud. It should be okay for actors to be able to be on set and feel safe and be safe from sexual harassment. It just should be that way. And what I don't like is that the article as written is biased to one side. You should just be able to tell us the facts of the case. So I guess, like, my editor would never let me put something like this out. But okay, it's I guess I can get past it. Okay, here we go. December 20th, 2024, Lively files a sexual harassment complaint against Baldoni with the California Civil Rights Department. Lively's original complaint accused Baldoni of sexual harassment during filming, as well as retaliation against Lively when she attempted to stand up against his alleged misbehavior. The following day, the New York Times published a lengthy investigation into the PR machine Baldoni summoned to help allegedly smear Lively. Now they're deciding to use words like allegedly. The same day it was reported that WME had also dropped Baldoni as a client, although the talent agency has publicly insisted that Lively and Reynolds weren't behind its decision to drop Baldoni, despite the fact that Lively remains a WME client. By the way, I mean, I'm familiar with CA, but WME Talent Agency. Let's just take a look at this real quick. So, the original advocate for the world's most extraordinary talent. Okay, yeah, they've got clients for sure, right? Big clients. I might be a little bit jealous of their client list. I might want to be on there, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is a serious talent agency. They're pretty amazing. All right. All right. Lively remains a client of WME. On the 31st, 10 days later, Lively formally sues Baldoni, his film studio, Wayfarer, and his PR team. This is a lawsuit. We're going to get into it a little bit. Although Lively had already gone public with her California Civil Rights Department complaint earlier in December, the lawsuit she filed on December 31st in New York federal court specifically names Baldoni, Wayfarer, and PR representatives Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel for subjecting her to, quote, further retaliation and attacks, close quote, after her participation in the New York Times story. Quote, Ms. Lively has brought this litigation to New York, where much of the relevant activities described in the complaint took place, but we reserve the right to pursue further action in other venues and jurisdictions as appropriate under the law, close quote, said one of Lively's attorneys on Tuesday. By the way, there are three lawsuits so far, and they're all in different jurisdictions. One is a federal lawsuit in the District Court of the Southern District of New York. One is a California state lawsuit in the Superior Court of the State of California. And then the last one is a Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York. So County of New York, by the way, is basically the 5 boroughs. It's like right there in New York City. All right. Yeah. December 31st, same day, Baldoni and his publicity team sue the New York Times for libel. Baldoni's 87-page legal complaint, which was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court, alleges that the New York Times relied almost entirely on Lively's unverified narrative, also accusing her husband, Ryan Reynolds, of being aggressive toward Baldoni during a meeting in New York City. I would not be surprised if you had been, or he believed you had been sexually harassing his wife. He might be a little aggressive in a meeting. It should be mentioned that said aggression was allegedly an accusation on Reynolds' part that Baldoni had fat-shamed Lively, a practice that's sadly still too common in Hollywood. Again, biased reporting. But okay, Baldoni is attempting to sue the New York Times for $250 million in damages, and best of luck with that, sir. Perhaps the case of New York Times v. Sullivan might be something for you to consider. I don't think you're going to win $250 million. Okay. Then the next thing that happened, guys, is that it doesn't show in this case is on the 24th. So Christmas Eve is when Stephanie Jones, who was the agent for Justin Baldoni, she sued her former client, his studio, the PR people, that was mentioned in the story, and a bunch of John Does. So there's a lot going on here. Let's pause from it for a while. We will take a look at these beautiful people. This is Stephanie Jones. Let's bring up comments again and just see what you guys are saying here. Yeah, I had wondered, it's just that it was the first time that brought up Reynolds. And so I'm like, well, which Reynolds are we talking about here? Gavin, I did join your Patreon and there's so much info there. Thank you for suggesting to do that first. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining One Man's Trash. Speaking of Patreon, guys, what I did is I put all 3 of these lawsuits in their entirety inside Patreon for my members. So if you are a member, and you guys can find these if you're not a member, they're on the internet. I just wanted to put them in a place that would be easy for you guys to see. Let's see, a couple more things down here. Yep, Ryan Reynolds is Blake's husband. Yeah, it was just weird how it was mentioned. It was the first time it was mentioned in the article. His name was mentioned in the article. They normally are better than that. So it just seemed weird. Gavin, this sounds more like a PR firm piece than an actual reporter. Man, it sure does. It's just written poorly. It's yellow journalism is what it used to be called. I don't know. And Mooney also says, Amber turned the world against Depp until we saw the trial. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, it was written pretty poorly. Let's see, a couple other things. Jeep See My Soul, Gavin Newby here. Well, welcome. Let's bring up the New York Times here as well. I don't know when depositions will begin. I don't know. There sure is a lot. And yeah, Story Mode Scrub Lord. She's not a reporter. She's a culture writer. Okay. Fair enough. It is. What is it? Is it Vogue that I was reading this out of? Yeah, it is Vogue. It's fine. I just, Jersey Jen New here. How did I not know about this channel? Well, I'm glad you found me. Glad. Demon Hugger says, yeah, the reporting does not meet fishbowl standards. And it's not like I'm some bastion of terrific reporting. Especially here on the channel, I share my opinion all the time. But when you're writing a piece, man, and you're writing a timeline, I don't know. I just expected a little bit better. Okay. Let us get back over here. All right. You like my little sound effects? My wife makes fun of me for making sound effects for everything. All right. Hey, before we get into this, guys, real quick, tomorrow, since we do have some newbies here, which I'm very grateful for, thank you for being here. Tomorrow, we are going to be returning to the Madeline Soto murder. And I had planned this to be a little bit of year in review of 2024, but I did see that some new audio came out. Paula over at Plunder has some new audio, and so I have requested that and I have gotten it. So we're probably going to be going over that audio tomorrow. So the Madeline Soto case, join me at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. Or if you're on the rewatch crew, it'll be the next video after this one. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to read all 93 pages of this complaint. By the way, if we get down to, I've also included all the exhibits in here. I mean, she has lots of receipts here. But anyway, so over on Patreon, you'll be able to see the whole thing. All right. I think we'll just read the first couple things. All right. Plaintiff Blake Lively, Ms. Lively, brings this action for damages against Wayfarer Studios, LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, Justin Baldoni, an individual, Jamie Heath, an individual, Steve Sarowitz, an individual, It Ends With Us Movie, LLC. Yeah, guys, they create companies for specific movies, and it's actually a shameful thing that they do in Hollywood. It doesn't matter. Okay, a California limited liability company, Melissa Nathan, an individual, the Agency Group PR LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, and Jennifer Abel, an individual, and alleges as follows. On January 4th, 2024, prior to resuming filming of It Ends With Us, the film, following guild strikes, an all-hands meeting was convened in New York to address the hostile work environment that had nearly derailed production of the film. Attendees of the meeting included 1. Justin Baldoni, who is the co-chairman and co-founder of Wayfarer Studios, LLC, Wayfarer, the owner of the film, as well as the director, executive producer, and actor in the lead role of Ryle Kincaid. I hope I pronounced that correctly. 2. Jamie Heath, the chief executive officer of Wayfarer and producer of the film. Get this over here. All right. 3. Ange, I don't know. Janetti, Ange, I don't know. The film's representative for its distributors, Sony Pictures Entertainment. 4. Alex Sachs, a producer of the film. 5. Todd Black, a producer on the film. And 6. Ms. Lively, who played the role of Lily Bloom in the film. Ms. Lively also had the agreed-upon right to have representative present. She chose her husband, given that the meeting was about repeated sexual harassment and other disturbing behavior by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. I would imagine, guys, I mean, it's not like I have incredible inside knowledge into Hollywood. I have like superficial inside knowledge. I've done a little bit of work in Hollywood, nothing to write home about, right? So take this for the grain of sand, which it is, right? But I would imagine that having Ryan Reynolds in the room was probably intimidating. The guy is the A-list of the A-list. He is maybe the one of the best business people in all of Hollywood. He's certainly one of the most wealthy. And I think they probably would have been on their best behavior if Ryan Reynolds was in the room. So, and the fact that Ms. Lively would have him there shows the trust that they have in each other. This is a partnership, right? So yeah, I think that was probably a good choice. I think that other people might say, well, pretty bad to have your husband in the room to defend you against, sexual harassment claims. But I say balderdash, poppycock, and all sorts of other old words. Okay. All right. Let's see. Paragraph 2. As discussed in detail below, Ms. Lively was forced to address concerns about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct with them directly, and began doing so months before filming began. The concerns she raised were not only for herself, but for the other female cast and crew, some of whom had also spoken up. And it should be noted that Ms. Lively is somebody who carries weight in Hollywood. like this is a successful, powerful person, and good on her. If this kind of stuff was happening and she was speaking up for other people that didn't have the power that she did, especially considering the power coupling that she has with her husband, right? Okay. The January 4th meeting occurred only after Wayfair had rebuffed Ms. Lively's efforts repeatedly. Paragraph 3. During the January 4th meeting, the parties discussed in detail the inappropriate conduct that Ms. Lively, her employees, and other cast and crew experienced at the hands of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. After the list below was reviewed and discussed in its entirety, all parties present agreed that the outlined conduct would cease. No more showing nude videos or images of women, including the producer's wife, to Blake Lively and or her employees. I don't understand this. Like, there are people that are drawn to this whole idea of doing this behavior. I was once at an audio show. I worked in high-end audio for years. And this dude that I didn't even know sat down in my like presentation room and started showing me pictures of his girlfriend. I was like, what the devil is wrong? Like, I want to see that. Like, it is the weirdest compulsion that some people have. I do not get it. All right. So no more doing that to Ms. Lively or her employees. No more mention of Mr. Baldoni's and Mr. Heath's previous pornography addiction or Blake Lively's lack of consumption. Oh my goodness. To Blake Lively or to other crew members. 3, no more discussions to Ms. Lively and her employees about personal experiences with sex, including as it relates to spouses or others. No more mention to Ms. Lively or her employees of personal times that physical consent was not given. Oh my goodness. As either the abuser or the abused. 5, no more descriptions of their own junk. Come on, guys. 6, no more jokes or disparaging comments to be made to Ms. Lively or her employees about HR complaints where Wayfair has already received on set or about missing HR meeting. Okay, you guys get the idea, right? We don't have to go through all these, but yeah, it's a lot. Holy cow. No, there's more. Okay, we get it though. We get it. There was some really bad behavior on set. Okay, paragraph 4. This meeting was an essential step in a process the parties had agreed to several months before to allow the cast and crew to safely resume production of the film. In mid-November 2023, the parties had agreed in writing to implement a list of protections enumerated in a contract that should say titled, not entitled, Protections for Return to Production. Attached hereto is Exhibit A, which is also attached to this, which includes 17 provisions designed to require Wayfair to cease the on-set behavior of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. Let's go down there, shall we? We're doing Exhibit A. I went too far. Exhibit A. Okay, the tentative resolution, blah, 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 blah. Here they are. Here are the 17 points. Yeah. An intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Blake Lively is on set. Fair. There must be a closed set during the rehearsal or filming of any scene involving simulated sex or nudity, and any observation via remote monitors shall be restricted to essential personnel as approved by Ms. Lively, which, again, perfectly reasonable. Number 3, there is to be no spontaneous improvising of any scenes involving physical touching, simulated sex, or nudity. Scenes involving kissing, depiction of sexual intercourse, or any other physical touching must be contained in the screenplay, of course. Choreographed in advance and in the presence of the intimacy coordinator, of course, and may only proceed as choreographed with the consent of all participants in advance. Again, of course. Wow. Physical touching and or comments on Blake Lively's physical appearance must only be made in connection with the character and scene work, not as to Blake Lively personally, except as written into the screenplay or as strictly required in connection with makeup or costume preparation. There is to be no physical touching, including hugging, of Blake Lively, her on-set personnel, or her employees. Perfectly reasonable. 5, there are to be no discussions of personal experiences with sex or nudity, including as it relates to conduct with spouses or others. Why would you do that in the first place? Of course. Number 6, no one will attempt to enter, interrupt, pressure, or request entrance to Blake Lively's trailer while she's in a state of undress for any reason. Again, oh my goodness, the fact that these have to even be put down in writing. There shall be no rehearsal or filming of any nudity and or simulated sex without the nudity writer in place. Any such footage previously shot without the nudity writer in place and in direct violation of SAG requirements may not be used without Blake Lively's or her legal representative's prior written consent. That actually used to be something that happened in Hollywood a lot. Yeah, I don't know how much detail I want to get into this, but it happened in Hollywood a lot, where they would have footage and it would be shared around. It's kind of what used to happen. It might still happen. It probably does. I mean, considering this agreement here, Blake Lively may have a representative of her choosing present with her on set for the remainder of the rehearsal and shooting days, including while on a closed set. Good for her. If Blake Lively is exposed to COVID-19, she must be provided notice as soon as possible after Wayfarer or any producer or production executive becomes aware of such exposure. Fair enough. There shall be no retaliation of any kind against Blake Lively for raising concerns about the conduct described in this letter or for these requirements, any changes in attitude, sarcasm, marginalization, or other negative behavior, either on set or otherwise, including during publicity or promotional work, as a result of these requests is retaliatory and unacceptable and will be met with immediate action. Number 11, Sony must have a mutually approved representative on set for the remainder of the rehearsal and shooting days, including on a closed set, to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues. Wayfarer, number 12, will engage an additional experienced A-level producer approved by Ms. Lively to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule, and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues. Number 13, Wayfarer must empower any existing third-party producer with appropriate and customary authority to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule, and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues. 14, Wayfarer will engage an A-list stunt double approved by Ms. Lively to rehearse and perform any scenes involving the character Lily that depicts the R word or any act of sexual violence. Ms. Lively will only perform close-up work or other pre-approved shots for such scenes. Any rehearsal or shooting involving Ms. Lively or any other performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity, including partial nudity or simulated sex, must be conducted strictly in accordance with the nudity writer and must adhere to the approved script. 6, any and all day players must be engaged through customary industry talent agencies and not through personal connections of the director and or the producer. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, and number 17, hold an all-hands in-person meeting before the production resumes, which will include the director, all producers, the Sony representative, the newly engaged third-party producer, Blake Lively and Blake Lively's designated representatives to confirm and approve a plan for implementation of the above that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Blake Lively, her employees, and all the cast and crew moving forward. I think that's perfectly reasonable. All right, let me get back to kind of where we were. Yeah, and let's see what you guys are saying over here. Make sure that I'm not missing any of your Zach says, isn't having your spouse on your side a hallmark of a good marriage? I think so. Zach also says, yellow journalism of the New York Times? You don't say. Yeah, I really don't like biased journalism. Like, if you have an agenda, it's fine to have an agenda, but you need to state that you have this agenda. And it didn't happen in the Vogue piece, which I had an issue with. Jenny Meow Meow says, I'm saying staying skeptical, but we'll consider the evidence. Mooney says we need to hear both sides, Gavin. Yeah, okay. And Robin says I'm going to stay neutral on this. So you guys are awesome. You guys are absolutely correct on that. So let's do this. Let's. How many more paragraphs do we have here? Let's stop right there. We get the idea, right? Let's go to Justin Baldoni's. Where am I going? I'm going here. Let's go to his. What is this called? This is called a lawsuit. Okay. Superior Court of California, Wayfarers, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve's, and a whole bunch of other people. Okay, against the New York Times. And I believe Mr. Baldoni has said that he'll probably take action against Blake Lively soon too. So blah, 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 blah. We claim and allege as follows. Here's the introduction. At 9:46 p.m. on Friday, December 20th, 2024, NYT reporter Megan Twohey requested plaintiff's response to an imminent 4,000-word bombshell story concerning their alleged orchestration of a smear campaign targeting Blake Lively, purportedly in response to Lively's disclosure of concerns about the working environment on the set of It Ends With Us. Guys, a 4,000-word piece is a big piece. That'll take you 30 minutes to read. It's a long piece. Okay. The film's production company, Wayfarer, its principals, Baldoni and Heath, and its public relations representatives, Nathan and Abel, were asked to provide on-the-record comment and to notify the Times of any inaccuracies by noon the next day, on December 21st, 2024, a mere 14 hours overnight. It's pretty standard. Plaintiff's representative promptly denied Lively's accusations as reported by the Times and criticized both Lively and the Times' reliance on cherry-picked and altered communications stripped of necessary context and deliberately spliced to mislead. I kind of feel like we should read that document or that report. I don't know. It's going to tell us about the report. Okay. Despite its claim to have reviewed these along with other documents, the Times relied almost entirely on Lively's unverified and self-serving narrative, lifting it nearly verbatim while disregarding an abundance of evidence that contradicted her claims and exposed her true motives. But the Times did not care. Given the breadth of the article and the coordinated drop, it is readily apparent that the Times had been quietly working in concert with Lively's team for weeks or months. Well, I mean, that the meeting that Blake Lively says took place was January 4th of 2024. So it was nearly a year later that the piece came out. And it very well could be that they were working with Lively's team for weeks or months. That is possible. I have never done. I'm a small town reporter, guys. I've never done any kind of huge investigative piece like the one that they're talking about here. I have no, like, my education is not in journalism, for example. So I don't have any of this. But I do have some experience being the subject of, or one of the subjects of, reports like the one that is being described. If the New York Times had been working on it for a year, it does seem a little suspicious to me that they had not reached out to the Wayfarer / Baldoni team way sooner. Like that, as an investigative journalist, you'd be wanting both sides of the story. Now, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying if what is alleged in this document is true, then it is kind of strange to me. Okay. And I've never been in the, like, involved in one that was like a year in the making. But certainly like 4 or 5 months in the making, So yeah, anyway, The Times participated actively in the legal maneuvering at the heart of Lively's strategy. Notably, Lively chose not to file a lawsuit against Baldoni, Wayfarer, or any of the plaintiffs, a choice that spared her from the scrutiny of the discovery process, including answering questions under oath and producing her communications. This decision was no accident. First, her administrative complaint is rife with blatant falsehoods and egregious misrepresentations that would have subjected her to dismissal, if not sanctions. Second, pursuing formal legal action would have derailed her true objective, an orchestrated campaign to rehabilitate her public image. Okay, so that's an interesting allegation to me. I mean, I don't begrudge a person their strategy. I mean, you know, going back to what's her name, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, one of her apparent strategies was to, you know, file a temporary restraining order against her husband at the time and have reporters there to take pictures of her face looking all beaten and bruised, right? So that is a strategy that I think if it were true, which I believed it, I believed that characterization when I watched the trial, then I feel like that's out of bounds. But other strategies that you might employ, it's probably a good idea. I don't begrudge a person their strategy, but I don't know. Rehabilitate her public image. Maybe I'm just not tied in enough to care. I didn't think she had a public image problem. Okay. Instead, Lively filed a request for a right to sue letter with the California Civil Rights Department. A procedural formality that does not require pleadings, remains confidential unless leaked, as it was here, and crucially does not subject the complainant to discovery. You know what, though? That's poorly characterized, because I think in California, she must file a request for the right to sue. So, yeah. While such a letter can precede a lawsuit, it is clear that litigation was never her ultimate goal. Her real intention was to weaponize the appearance of legitimacy conferred by a numbered legal document to launch salacious, headline-grabbing allegations and reshape her public persona at the expense of the plaintiffs. I really want to hear your guys' opinion on this, by the way, right? Because Ms. Lively made allegations on the one hand, and now Mr. Baldoni and his team are making allegations on the other hand. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. So tell me what you think. Don't forget to put GF in your comment if you want me to see it. Okay. Lively found willing allies at the New York Times, which uncritically embraced her CRD complaint as fact and disregarded the plaintiff's emphatic objections. Without even waiting for a response deadline of noon on December 21st, 2024, the Times rushed to publish its inflammatory article, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine." Okay, give me a second. Let's go over here. I'm going to look for it real quick. See if it's behind a paywall or not. Yeah, this is a freaking long article, man. Okay. Yeah, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine. Private messages detail an alleged campaign to tarnish Blake Lively after she accused Justin Baldoni of misconduct on the set of It Ends With Us." Okay. So we're not gonna read that. Don't worry, guys, but dang. Okay. I need to bring myself over here. All right. At 10:11 a.m., nearly 2 hours early. Okay, that's not cool. Give a guy a deadline and then publish before the deadline. That's not cool. This brazen disregard for journalistic integrity and fairness resulted in an article rife with inaccuracies, misrepresentations, and omissions. In an era where public trust in media has reached a historic low and legacy outlets are increasingly criticized as biased and agenda driven, the Times has chosen to double down on sensationalism and simplified narratives. Rather than striving for accuracy and balance, it has prioritized hollow signaling over substantive reporting, further eroding its credibility and exacerbating the very mistrust it claims to combat. And, there's probably a little bit of truth in this. I mean, the American media, when it comes to its the polls asking for trustworthiness, the American media right now is below Congress. So, yeah, there's a little bit of that. The article's central thesis, encapsulated in a defamatory headline designed to immediately mislead the reader, is that plaintiffs orchestrated a retaliatory public relations campaign against Lively for speaking out about sexual harassment, a premise that is categorically false and easily disproven. If the Times truly reviewed the thousands of private communications it claimed to have obtained, its reporters would have seen incontrovertible evidence that it was Lively, not plaintiffs, who engaged in a calculated smear campaign. The complete communications demonstrate beyond a question that plaintiffs had no intention of destroying or burying Lively through aggressive tactics. On the contrary, Baldoni consistently expressed his desire to avoid harming Lively and protect the film, but also recognized a legitimate need for public relations protection in light of Lively's false and damaging claims. So these are screen grabs. Huh. Okay. Wow. Still okay. The article is predicated on Lively's CRD complaint, which references text exchanges between Nathan and Abel as purported evidence that Nathan planted a negative story in the Daily Mail titled, "Is Blake Lively Set to be Cancelled?" Lively's portrayal is categorically false, misleading, and devoid of factual basis, yet knowingly endorsed by the Times, which claimed to have reviewed, quote, thousands of pages of text messages and emails, close quote. The smear campaign hinges on the August 16th text exchange in which Nathan allegedly shared a link to this article with Abel. The text exchange shows Abel responding, "Wow," followed by, "You really outdid yourself with this one," to which Nathan allegedly replied, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." These messages constitute the entirety of the purported evidence underlying the allegation of a smear campaign orchestrated on behalf of Baldoni. So, okay, so this was not included. There's a drive-through Jones reception. Yeah, I don't see how it matters that was not included. Okay. All right, so it doesn't seem to me, guys, that Baldoni is fighting back against any of the allegations. Now keep in mind that this was filed the same day that Blake Lively filed hers, right? So they didn't know the complaint was coming when they filed their complaint. It was the same time. We're on page 7 right now. So he filed his at 12:46 p.m. on the 31st, and Lively filed hers. It actually doesn't say the time. It might at the end. Sometimes it does. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say. But anyway, it was filed the same day between these two. So they didn't know that it was coming. But having said that, he's not fighting back so far against any of the allegations. He's just fighting against the Times for doing whatever it is that they did. That's the way it looks like to me. So let's see what you guys are having to say here. I'd love to. Let's see. Let's see. Gonna watch the Lawyer You Know episode on this. Okay, I will. I will definitely check that out. I like The Lawyer, you know. Human Animal says, could this explain Blake's bizarre press appearances for the movie and her hijacking of the press for her own products? Everyone saw she seemed not very fond of the movie. Oh, I did see this weird YouTube video that was titled The Worst Interview I Ever Did, where Blake Lively was being interviewed like on a press junket. And what they do on these guys is they like set up in some venue, a hotel or a conference center or something like that. And then the actor or actors will sit in a room and they will give 5 minutes to umpteen gazillion reporters. By the end of the day, they're probably just super tired and everything. But there was this weird interview. She was with another actor, and I can't remember her name, but she's awesome. And they were behaving as if the reporter wasn't even there. It was like Mean Girl kind of stuff from high school. So okay, maybe I'm normally into crime, right? I'm really not into this, but it's fascinating and it's like a train wreck, and I don't want to look away. She was trying to pit her movie against her husband's at the box office, as well as trying to sell her own hair products. She got the tone wrong. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, there are tons of text money. Tons of texts. Tons and tons and tons in the New York Times one. And in Blake Lively's, I think there are two. Like, let me see if I can. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing here. Yeah, I mean, they have tons of stuff in here. Yeah, text messages, so forth. But it does seem like it is pretty darn cherry picked. Whereas if we go through the New York Times one, man, they just have like just tons of stuff just in there. Tons of them. So yeah, I mean, if you're into reading giant lawsuits, go over to Patreon and download them, or just search for them on the internet. You'll find them. Yeah, they're bad texts from the PR ladies. Yeah. Let's see. Man, a lot of you guys know way more about this case than I do. Aunt Claire says she pushed merching her RR alcohol line during press for the DV movie. That's funny. I forgot what her alcohol is. It's like, I remember the whole aviation gin that Ryan Reynolds has. Oh, that's what you're saying, RR alcohol line. Maybe it's the aviation gin. I don't know. But keep in mind that, like, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, these are really good business people. They should be pushing that stuff. But yeah, Mooney's saying, read the text, Kevin. I just don't want to spend that much time on it, Mooney. Man. So funny. Let's see. I was all pumped up for Lively and Reynolds until I heard the Lawyer You Know episode. Maybe I should do a reaction to that. I don't know. Yes, it was Parker Posey. That's right, Krista. Thank you very much. It was Parker Posey. Parker Posey is an actor that I absolutely love, but also, like, I want to put this delicately and respectfully. The artistically inclined folks, actors, artists, performance art, all sorts of artists, they are wired way differently than I am. They're different folks. And what's really funny is, you guys probably, I've never told you a lot about like my background. But I learned pretty early on that I was wired differently. So when I watched that interview with Blake Lively and Parker Posey, all I saw was really tired, really artistic people behaving badly like artistic tired people do. I felt like it was strange, but I wasn't um I guess I didn't care all that much. Now, how do I even say that? Mishobo? I have no idea how to say that. I'm so sorry. Tired or not, actors get paid to do those interviews. Yeah, they do. That is true. Um, and Becca says she was definitely playing a mean girl in that interview. She Elf Johnson, Gavin, I feel like Justin Baldoni could have crossed off things on that contract if they didn't apply to him, didn't happen. He did not. Yeah, he could have, but he also could have gone, well, this doesn't apply to me. I'll have that in the contract. Could be. And I have gone through a couple of, in my former corporate life, I've gone through a couple of these kinds of disputes. Rarely, I think in these kinds of disputes is one side 100% right or the other side 100% wrong. The truth is always somewhere in the middle. So, yeah. Sublime 48 says, through this whole debacle, I think Blake and Ryan are going to ruin their careers. I think that these are two of the smartest people in Hollywood. And, consumers of motion pictures, which includes me, it probably includes you, we have short memories and short attention spans. Like, I am just waiting for the day when Kevin Spacey shows back up and he gets a giant applause at the Academy Awards. It'll happen. So yeah, it might hurt them in the short term, but I don't think that it will in the long term. Betty Buzz was her new booze company. That's right. I remember seeing that commercial. I thought it was brilliantly done. Human Animal, I'm on Blake's side about the little bump comment, not her reaction, but the comment was stupid. I found that interviewer very odd, rather unlikable. Blake was atrocious, though. Yeah, she was expecting a baby, right? And yeah. Demon Hugger, I'm all in favor of Gavin reading the text. Guys, I'm going to leave it to you. It's surprising to me that Uncle Gavin didn't come out in this because I'm tired already. Like, I've been looking at this for a grand total of 57 minutes, 35 seconds, plus like maybe 2 hours before this. And I'm exhausted. If you guys want more content like this, I'll give it to you. And maybe we'll come back and we will read some of the texts. I want to watch the Lawyer You Know episode. I also kind of want to watch the movie. I want to see how good of an actor Blake Lively and how good of an actor Justin Baldoni, how good they are. Because if they were having this kind of tension and the movie is good, I'm like, well, bravo. Good job on you guys. But I don't. Autumn also wants to see the text. Dang it. Autumn and Mooney want to see the text. Demon Hugger, who we all know that demons sometimes need hugs too. In fact, no, I get off on tangents so much. But I was in Payman's lair pretty recently and I hugged the guy. So yeah, demons need hugs too. You guys want to see the text? Well, listen, head on over to Patreon and grab them if you're a patron of mine. If you're not, you'll be able to find them online. They're out there. It took me about 30 minutes to do it. Yeah, let's see. Gavin needs a nap. Gavin's a little crusty tonight. Oh, you know what? If any of you are good at merch and want to come, I know that a couple of you have offered already, but if you want to come up with a couple of like merch ideas, I think Gavin needs a nap that is classic, Ashley. That is classic. That should be on a t-shirt or on a hat or on a mug. It should be like Gavin needs a nap. I want a mug that says Gavin needs a nap. That is So terrific. So terrific. Oh, wait a minute. Sherilyn did one too? Sherilyn did one too? My buddy Sherilyn Dale did one too. Okay. I'll reach out to Sherilyn. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was in Payman's lair, Demon Hugger. Payman, God of the Underworld. I was in his lair while I was back in California. You guys didn't know this, but Payman's lair, the entry to his lair is in Old Roseville, California. I gave him a hug. He needed it. He needed it. Were the allegations made after the film was completed? Well, the lawsuits were, but the allegations happened during filming. Filming was interrupted by the strike. And then in order to come back, she was like, hey, this is all the stuff that needs to change. And so, yeah, but the lawsuit definitely came after the movie. Lucinda, new subscriber. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, Autumn. One mug on the way. No, don't order the mug. Don't order the mug, Autumn. Guys, don't send me gifts. Autumn, don't do that. We need to design one and then put it up on the website. Gavin needs a nap. Or maybe we can have one that has like a line that you fill in yourself. You can, with a Sharpie, put your name on it. And I will just put my name, Gavin needs a nap, on it. Maybe we do that. Let's see if there's any. Yeah, we need dill hole merch. We definitely need dill hole merch. We need some Uncle Gavin merch. I started merch way too early, and I got frustrated. Alexandra Limpert says Gavin watched Jane the Virginia. Okay. All right. Yep. Demon Hugger has a Printify shop. Okay, you guys, now we're just talking about me, and that's enough. That's enough of this. Go read the lawsuits over on Patreon, or just search for them. You'll find them. They're not hard to find. I don't want you guys to think that I'm paywalling you. It's just a benefit that I give to my patrons to easily get access to the stuff that I'm talking about. But if you want them, they're on the internet. It won't take you very long. But anyway, let's call that for the day. Quick couple of items of self-promotion before we go. Shameless self-promotion. My website is gavinfish.com. You can always find me there. There's always a link in the description down below. I also include headlines over to my website, which is called Crime Cod, which is a true crime website that you can read all about some of the craziest cases in true crime. You can also sign up for the newsletter there. Please do that. I do not over email. I don't do it all that often, actually, and I don't sell my lists to anyone, anything like that. Also, if you're on Facebook, head on over to the Fish Tank and join us in our conversations over there. Lastly, while we are also on the website, come on over to the Support Me tab. Scroll on down to Autumn. Autumn's rad. Buy her a coffee, will you? Because she volunteers for this. And she wastes all of her coffee money buying mugs for me, including this one from her and Mooney, right? Don't do that, Autumn. Guys, buy her a coffee. She's awesome. Okay, and then tomorrow we are coming back to the Madeline Soto case, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be looking back at 2024. We're going to be looking forward into 2025, and we're going to be going over the latest audio that just dropped. So do not miss that. It's a case that is very, very, very important. With that, I will bid you guys adieu. Thank you all the newbies that came here today. Thank you all the people that come back time and time again. Thank you to the mods. I hope to see you tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.